Nam on chol này.
So much. First of all, I would like to pay homage to the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and would like to pay respect to both venerable speakers for joining with this program today. And this is the Buddha Sasana English program organized by the Cambodian Buddhist Monks Society in USA, which is presided over by Prehatimani Mangsang, the abbot of Wat Mani Sitaram in the state of Minnesota, USA. And today we are very honored to come back again with the series of the 5 Buddhist precepts as we have been discussing previously. And today we will be discussing about the second precept, which usually recited in the Pali phrases as Adina Dana Ve Ramani Sikha Batang Samadhiyami. And sometimes we may have already learned and recited, but we may not be able to understand in detail the meaning of why we chant this phrase, and also how do we go about keeping the 5 precept or the second precept, and what happens if we break that rule, the benefit, also the disadvantage which caused by breaking and also observing the moral precept. So today we're very honored to have invited most venerable Dr. Vajrapanya Kusupip from Wat Nikrot One Kuldateng, Kingdom of Cambodia. As everybody might have already aware that most venerable Doctor is the lecturer at the Panyasastra University of Cambodia, and also the well-known educator and Dhamma preachers across Cambodia as well as the world. And we are very fortunate to have invited and for have you join with us in this program. And again, we have also invited Venerable Sandi Tato Sen Sadul. Now he currently resides in California, San Jose, USA, and Venerable also have graduated studying Buddhist philosophy from Burma. We actually were the college in Burma. So thank you very much, both venerable Dhamma speakers, for spending time to join with us today. And of course, we're going to discuss in detail about the second precepts. I believe that a lot of people already know how to recite the precept, especially in terms of Buddhists around the world. They know how to do this. But as a matter of fact, I would like to bring up this topic. I want to try to break it down so that we can understand better the concept of the 5 precept, each precept and its factors which leads to the breaking of the precept, and also the advantage which gain through undertaking this precept. So first of all, I would like to invite Venerable Dr. Kusupip to give a little bit explanation before we start discussing the second precept. Would you mind explain in your own way what is Sila means to you, and how is it important to our life?
Right. Thank you, Venerable Soktiwi. I would like to pay homage to the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and the 2 venerables here. And good morning, everyone from Cambodia. Maybe it's evening in the US, right?
Yeah, it's
okay.
evening. Yeah.
Okay. So I would classify the definitions of Sila into 2. The first one's what we call in Bali, Charatasal, means behaving properly. How you speak, how you act, how you present yourself to the public, to the people around you properly. So that is one definition of the word Sila, is behaving properly. The second one, what we call in Bali, is Virita Sila. Virita Sila means the thing that you're supposed not to do, like killing, hurting others, and stealing, and having sexual misconduct, or lying, or taking intoxicant. All those are the precept that we are talking about. The second precept is not to steal. that those are the things that we supposed not to do because it's harming, it's hurting others, and eventually the result of that karma will come back to you. So the two definition I would define the word Sila. First one is Jarat Sila, means properly behaving, properly behavior you supposed to do toward the others in society. And the second one is Virita Sila, the thing that you're supposed not to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pante, for sharing two definitions in relation with the term Sila. In Khmer, we call Sal or Saila. So in English, international pronunciation as a Sila, and in English we usually call as a precept, as morality, as virtue. So most venerable Doctor just presented two kinds of definition according to Buddhism. One is Charita Sila. So one is trying to behave in a good way or good conduct, while another is trying to abandon and not to commit any wrongdoings. So thank you very much for clarifying this point, and I hope that people will understand when we talk about the precept, we're trying to doing something which is good, which is proper in conduct, and also we're trying not to commit any wrongdoings. And again, let me turn to Venerable Sadul from California. Can you describe a little bit concerning with the second precept, as today we are going to discuss a little bit in detail about the second precept, as you already know that Adina, Dana, Vedamni, Sikkhapadang, Samadhiyami. In Khmer, we usually recite as Adaniya, Tiniya, Vedamni, Sikkhapadang, Samadhiyami. Can you give a little bit of explanation? What does it mean, and how can one observe this precept?
Thank you, Venerable Sokdevi. First, I would like to pay homage to the people gems, pay homage to most Venerable Precept and Venerable Sokdevi, and Venerable Take Care as well, and to almost Venerable. And I'm honored here. And first, before I go into explain the second precept or the Sila, and I want to divide into two parts. One is in regarding to the teachings of the Lord, and another is regarding to the societies in the science, because the precept here is not exist only in Buddhism. In other religions and other societies, they also practice, but the term is only different in the term, like the Sila. Other religions, they did not name as the Sila, but they practice in the same way. And so I would like to explain the term Sila in Buddhism as well here. And all the 5 precepts or the 10 precepts, and for all Buddhist people who practice here, we call general list, the general term is the Sila. And the term Sila is it is nothing but the volitions. We call Chetana in Buddhism. That is Chetana, the volitions. And so one is the volitions to avoid virati. That's most Venerable Precept just explained right now. That is the one kind of the Cetasika, to avoid from the bad actions. And another one is to behave in the proper way. That's regarding to the teachings of the Lord, the volitions. The volition exists in the 10 Sila, the 10 precept, or 5 precept as well, or in all the kinds of our behavior, our conduct. And then I'm going to explain the second precept, as we mentioned in the Pali term as Adana, Dana, Veramani, Sikkhapadang, Samadhiyami. Adana, Dana here is mean I accept the precept of abstaining from killing, and it's simply just abstaining from killing. Maybe someone they understand easily as we not go to steal something from the house of other or taking something belong to other. But if we explain furthermore regarding to the modern world, it's not only that. It's not only that, even like cheatings and corruptions or some other thing else also regard in the stealings too as well. It's simply we just think that we go to take the properties that belonging to other people, and taking some things that are not given with the intentionally to take something from other people. And the factor, I think that's maybe the factors for one to engage in stealing is maybe less Venerable Kosapep explained that points, maybe the factor how one they engage and what factors, what circumstances that bring one to engage in stealing or engage in doing that unwholesome actions, and that's explanations Venerable Sir.
What is the translation of this Pali phrase? Can you repeat a little bit?
Oh yes, Adina Dana, Veramani Sikhabadang Samadhiyami. I accept the precept of abstaining from stealing. I accept the precept of abstaining from killings. That is the second precept. And it is also, if we regards to the Atthangikammaka, it is also regard in the threefold training. It is the Samma Kammanta. It is Samma Kammanta is regard in the Samma Kammanta. If anyone commits one of that actions, it is the obstacles of the Magga and Phala in practicing the inside meditation to obtain the jhana. If anyone commits one of that, it is not able to develop more in the inside meditations.
Yeah, thank you so much, Phante Sante Tato. I catch with the word you're trying to explain about volition or intention, cetana, as we usually say in Pali. So cetana is actually the main factor of the Sila when we talk about how is one called as a virtuous person or not. How can we observe the precept? So by our intention, by our volition in trying to not commit any wrongdoing based on these 5 training rules. So that is why precept place important about the volition or intention. Like in this regard, you're talking about the intention to abstain from stealing or to avoid from taking what is not given. Thank you so much for sharing this explanation. And let me move to Most Venerable Dr. Kusupip. We know that people always come to the temple they always say they go to the temple to ask for precept from the monks. Here it sounds a little bit curious to me that is the precept exists in the monk? Why do people need to go to the temple to observe the precept? Can you actually explain how can we observe this second precept? Is it observed or undertaken by reciting from the monk, or is there any way to observe? How can we make this precept happen to us?
Thank you. So I think obtaining or practicing the precept, the Sila, traditionally we go to the temples and ask from the monks, but you can either stay at home and still can observe the 5 precepts by your own in front of the Buddha statue in your home or inside your room. You just have the intention. You just make a commitment that I would obtain or practice or observe the 5 precepts: not to kill, not to steal, not to have sexual misconduct, not to lie, not to take intoxicant. I would practice the 5 precepts in this day or in any day. You can make a commitment in your room, at your home, or preferable, you can go to the temple. There are many more lay people there as your witness that you are practicing the 5 precepts, and especially the monk consider as your teacher. So he is your witness that you are practicing the 5 precepts. So you have the fear that, oh, I already make a commitment in front of the monk that I've practiced the 5 precepts, I supposed not to break it. So that is the advantage of going to the temple, being with other lay people and asking the precept from the monk. So there are more people around you knowing you that you are practicing the 5 precepts. You are not willingly to break the precept because the other people know you. That is called what we call in Bali here. Here mean you feel like, oh, others know me that I'm practicing the 5 precepts. I supposed not to drink alcohol. If you make a commitment at your home, you feel like you feel free. I didn't care. People didn't know that I make a commitment to practice the 5 precepts. So that is the advantage of going to the temple. But actually, the precept can be practiced at home. Can be made a commitment at your room or in front of the Buddha statue at your home. Thank you.
So thank you so much. So by what you were saying that precept is not inside the monk or somewhere else, but it is from our volition, our intention to abstain from committing wrong and to do good conduct. So basically, the precept can be practiced on a daily basis, no matter where we are, no matter what we do, right? Is it the can you prove, like, how do we know if people really have the precept or not? If people sometimes they've been going to the temple for most of their life and they've been reciting after the monk, but actually sometimes they never practice that on daily basis. Is that still considered those kind of people still, do they have the precept or not?
He himself, she herself knows him or herself well, whether she or he has a precept inside. We cannot judge them. So it depends on their commitment, their practice toward the precept. If they can protect the 5 precepts well, so we consider them as a person who has Sila. But we cannot know for sure. The white clothes, the yellow robe cannot determine whether you have Sila or not.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let me move to Venerable Sante Tato. Can you give explanation concerning with observing this second precept? I know that it's good when people can observe and try to practice according to this second precept, but what are the factors that lead to the breaking of this rule? Can you give some explanation concerning with that? Please unmute yourself on there.
Thank you, most venerable. And the same way with the court or the lawyer, before they going to tell some things, maybe in Buddhism the same. The volitions or the intentions is the main factors of all action. That is the main factors of all actions. If someone they commits the unwholesome action or they commit even the killing, and they first they ask that person if they have the intention to kill or not. In stealing the same way, and in this precept for the second precept in Buddhism here, however, the Buddha put down for the 5 factors to judge or as the circumstance to make a decision if that one they breaks the stealings or not, the stealing trend moralities or not. And so that factors is going below. The first one is there in Pali. It is as the paraparikahitang. Paraparikahitang is mean that the properties belong to the owner. It must be belong to someone. Sometimes the property is not belong to anyone. For example, we go to the farm and we see some kinds of the vine fruit. It grow on the farm and then it's not belong to any owner. And so when we feel hungry or something, we can take that fruit, but it's not belong to anyone. But here, they belong to the owner. They must be the owner. They know, oh, that's one belong to someone. And the second factor is the paraparika hita sangita, knowing, because the thief, they already know that, oh, maybe he is the owner of that property. They know already the person, the owner, and the property belong to that person. That know. And the third factor is the theya chatang. Theya chatang, that is the intentionally. They intend to steal that one until they succeed. That is the third factor. And the fourth factor is the Opaque Mode. They try their best to commit it, you know, or where they put the property, where the owner, they put the properties in the home, in the house, or in the farm. And so they try their best to steal that property. And the final factor is the tena harana. Successfully, the property is taken away by that thief, by the robber. And so with these five factors, we can make a decision that person they break the trainings of stealing, the stealing precept. That person, for a Buddhist monk, it is not returns to the training for Buddhist monk regarding to the stealing. So this is very serious one among the four training rules for the Buddhist monk. Stealing is really danger for the Buddhist monk, even the cup of the water. With the offerings, a bowl of the rice, with the offering by the faithful, with the given by the donor. If any Buddhist monk go to take it without permission, with the intention, I mean that with the intention, volition here, to take this is away, that the state of the bhikkhus not no more. The state of the bhikkhus of that monk no more. Even he still wear the yellow robe, but only the form. It is no more the Buddhist monk for him. Even he tried to practice the whole life, he is said not to be obtains any fruitions of practicing. Even he even bring more the harms to himself as well as.
Hello, Hunter. Yeah, you seem to be stuck in frozen right now. Are you here? Oh, yeah. Okay.
You hear clearly, sir?
Yeah. Now it's get back now. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you hear my.
Yeah. Just a little bit, few seconds now. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. And that is the five factor. We just take it as the circumstance or the factors to make a decision for one, as he commit or not. In the same way on for the court or the lawyer, before they judge someone and they have to give the factor. And
yeah, I remember from the legal point of view, in the human rights, they talk about the right to property, right? If we relate this precept to the current situation, the world situation. So let me add
Dr. I'd like to ask permission to ask Venerable Sante Tatao, like if we go to the forest and we see some fruits out there and we seems like hungry and we take it and eat it, is that considered as stealing?
For example, for generally, if we know that person like friendly, you and me, for example, you and me, I come to your room and then I see something in your room, but I regard you as my friend. I know that person is my friend, but you are not here. For example, you are not here, and then I just want to text. I will let you know later.
I will take it.
Yes, I take it, but I will let you know later. But not intentionally, to take it, but just temporary.
Okay.
Already, but the parajika is very easy to commit, but it's very hard to.
Yeah.
We have all the factor. We have to take all the factor. If always parajika, maybe all the Buddhist monk not easy to practice. Maybe you better commit all the parajika. So you say something.
Okay, so in that case, you are a friend. So you take and then you tell him or her later. But in this case, you going to the forest, like we have in as a medicine for the monk, kentut prey or small, price small. It's out there in the forest. And can we take it? And if you take it, it's considered as stealing?
Oh, that really a hard question. Huh? For me to answer, huh? Would maybe have to be based on any like the vinegar, the patimokkha, like the Buddha mentioned in some commentary like that. But simply, if we regards to the Abhidhamma, and we take something like that, but without the intention to steal or with the good minds like that, I don't think it is a serious thing. It is not serious. Well, with the Abhidhamma, I mean that if we regards to the Abhidhamma,
Yeah.
I'm not with the intention to steal that one. And here, as you asked me that question, I want to explain some factors that make one to engage stealing. Now, someone maybe they steal with the hungry, huh? They take it with the hungry, not want to be rich, or not want to be not because of the greed state of the mind, not because of the greed, but like a small boy or the small kid, they go to the market and they see something, and without the greed of their minds, but just like, oh, look very nice, it look very good, and then the kid take that cake to eat. How do you think? Yeah, he still
He has no intention, right? Yes.
Yeah, without intention, the kid without intention just take the kid and take the cake and eat. And the same way would someone go to the forest with the intention to steal that thing, but as seeing something that on the forest like that, and
yeah, I think we can relate. Discussion actually is a wide topic again, and sometimes we may also think about the boundary and also the under whose authority is that place, and so sometimes it might be the property belongs to the land, the landowner. Sometimes it might be a public property as well. So in this regard, Vinaya also talks about the boundary in which people hold authority over that property. That's why I think when we relate back to the 5 factors you just mentioned about, first thing, the property belongs to the owner. Second thing, we know that it has the owner. And thirdly, it is so important in this regard, the intention to steal. If we have the intention to steal, I think we're gonna break it. And the third one, the fourth one, it has been stolen successfully. And number 4, number 4 is we try to steal it. Yeah, we try to steal it. And based on this fourth one, I also would like to ask question to Venerable Kusupip. We try to steal that things. For example, I just bring one real example. If I have a book here, for example, I place it on a table, and first of all, you have intention to steal my book. So you take it, but immediately you realize that, okay, I shouldn't take the properties of other, then you put it back suddenly. So is this also regard as an act of stealing, Sunday?
There's a lot of classification in terms of stealing in Vinaya. Once you already picked it up, that's it. Even though you have the intention to put it back, the act of stealing is already done. Yeah.
As soon as you move the thing, right?
Yeah. You pick it up, you move it up above the place that it is placed there, and it's an act of stealing. Even though you have the attention, you see the camera out there, and then you put it back, it's still stealing.
What about if we think that, okay, now I'm so hungry and I see the food in this house and I cannot find any owner, and with your intention you think that, okay, I'm gonna borrow it, but you don't have intention to steal it. You think that one day you will return or repay back to that owner, but today you just take it, because you're so hungry. But when the owner realizes that you have taken their things, they become very angry, and insult you, whatever things. Is this can be considered an act of stealing too, or what?
I think it's venerable something that I already mentioned. The act of stealing is the act of the intention to steal. So you don't have that intention. So it's not considered as stealing, even though the property owner consider you as the stealer, the cheater, the thief. But you are not, because you have no intention to do that. Okay, and here is the thing, the vinaya, you can do that, but you owe that property owner. You need to pay back. If, for example, you go to to someone's home and you take something and you have the intention to pay back or take it back, you owe that property owner. And if you don't pay back, it is a kind of stealing later. Okay. Once when your intention dropped that I don't pay it, and the owner knew that you don't pay it, and that is the act of stealing.
So you break the second precept.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about, okay, let's talk about technology, because now we live in a modern world. I think a lot of people, especially our younger generation, would like to also, how we can relate this second precept to our daily life. And a lot of people are using technology, Facebook, Gmail, and I see a lot of hackers have been trying to hack, or to get access to other people's information or data. Is it also considered in this case as an act of stealing in regard with the second precept? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely, the information, personal information is invaluable. So you cannot steal someone's information. It's an act of stealing. It's serious stealing right now. It's not just stealing.
Even on Facebook, sometimes we have problem with Facebook. I think some people have a lot of problem with Facebook. They try to hack the password,
Yeah.
So if we really are Buddhist and we observe the 5 precepts, I think this act should be condemned, should not be done, right?
In that now, in almost every country, there's a cyber law or something the government tried to put in place and to protect people from hackers, and the hackers should be punished by, I mean, in terms of Buddhism, you break the law, but in terms of government or authority, you're punished by the law.
Yeah. Okay, let me move to Venerable Sunday Tato. Also, just still on the field of is it an act of stealing or not? What about people trying to cheat others? For example, you sell something and sometimes you try to take advantage, of your customers, or some people may cheat on exam. Let's say students, we as students, sometimes we also cheat on exam, right? And sometimes robbery also happen for in the educational field, as we have witnessed. I think most of us have experience about the robbery during bribery.
Yeah.
During exam, during on education field. Is it also considered in this related to Adina Dana?
On that question, let's return back to the volitions. The Lord Buddha said, Bhikkhave cetanahang kammang vadami. You see, Bhikkhave cetanahang kammang vadami. I call the volitions are the intention is kamma, the action, that is the action. And so all that kinds of the stealing we can divide into two kinds. One is direct stealing and another is indirect stealing. Some also in indirect stealings too. They can steal through the document, and they can steal through the second person, or they can just cause another person to steal. See? And here maybe they want to obtain something irregularly or unlawful. So maybe they bribe, like you say, they bribe or they give or the corruption, something else. That thing actually is regarded as stealing. For a Buddhist monk also, even we go to take a copy of a document, we have to consider that one. So what should we do? We should ask the permission for the copyright, see? And that very serious for the Buddhist monk about that.
Called forgery. That one we try to copy a document and present it like the copy one, or it's not the original one. It's like trying to deceive people, right? The signature, the things is so also considered in the act of stealing, right?
That in the act of stealing too. That indirect stealing, actually, they by signature, by giving the agreements to the trip also. Even if we give the agreements to other people with the intention to give them to steal to other, that is like indirect stealing. We can regard as indirect stealing, but with the intention as well. That's all.
Yeah, well, Bokus, you have anything to add on to that concerning with trying to copy document or deceiving people's information?
Let me do some positive message.
Yeah.
I don't mind when I was on it, that I already mentioned it. Well, so that is a very different topic. I went to Germany and I went to the farm of the people in Germany, and the fruit out there, and every home, almost every home has their own little farm, and then they grow some plant, vegetable, or fruit, and then they left some fruit in the bag on their fan. Cáiដាក់ផ្លែឈើដាក់ក្នុងថង់ឲ្យបតោងនៅនឹងផ្លូវលបងផ្លូវដើរហ្នឹងណា and if anyone have any extra fruits or extra vegetable, they just hang on the fan. Then the other people go around and see that, and they can take it. And I think that is so great. I mean, and I ask people there, do you see some people just bring their cart and collect all the fruit in the cart and bring home? Just talk a little bit English. សួរគាត់ថាចឹងមានអ្នកខ្លះលោបហើយចឹងយកអាតេះយកអីមកដឹកអាផ្លែឈើនឹងទៅផ្ទះហ្មង and they said that no, they just take little, just one bag or whatever. And I thought, wow, that is so nice, and that is more than adidana veramani. Is more to the giving, and that is, I mean, not taking but giving, and that is good. I'd like to I'm sorry to go away from the topic.
No, actually we are going to that point. Of course, you mentioned about this because they've been talking about the act of stealing. So in the opposite way, the Buddha also talk in relation with the virtues, accompanying virtue that which to be developed when one try to avoid stealing or taking what is not given. Instead, one should develop charity, doing donation and things. Maybe Venerable Sansadol can add on to that about the act of giving, or doing charity or renunciation, or living the right livelihood as in the opposite of stealing. Can you give a little bit explanation on to that?
And that's here the positive points, because all that actions, all the actions of stealing is maybe happens through the three factor. It's happened through the three factor. First one is maybe the greed, lopa. It's happened. The stealing will happen through the lopa, cetasika. That is the main state of the mind, and dosa as well. And the second may be dosa, because of dosa, hatred. They hate someone, they not really want that property, but they may be because of
Destroy
hatred.
it, right?
You
can destroy the property.
That's correct. And the third one may be delusions of the mind. Maybe the wrong view, they not believe in the fruit of karmic effect in the future. That is not moha. because of moha as well. They not believe like it's related to the wrong view. Ujjeta Titi as well. That is very deep on the teachings of the Lord Buddha to understand. Ujjeta Tita not believe the lies for the that exist as well. And so because of that, they commit the stealing, maybe commit of the bad action. And so instead of that, we have to develop the compassion and sympathies and the loving kindness as well as the charity through our verbal and physical action as well. For the charity, we do the donations, or we try to open our mind very kindly to other people. We have two kinds of charity too. One is the renunciation, another is the giving directly. Renunciation with our mind, we just put property one way, and then we just walk away from that property to give to other people without saying anything. We just put here, and if anyone want to take it, okay. That is the way of the charity, to give away and to deliver to get the liberation from the greed state of the mind. The way of the Bodhisattva, our Lord Buddha also practiced on that way. He give the charity or the renunciations regarding without the people as well. He just put one way and then he just walk away from that property. We can give to the poor people and develop our minds again and again. That is the obstacle of the greed. The obstacle we try to be eliminate.
Suppress our attachment to the property, right?
And
and we should learn to let go and give away to charity. That's how we can give suppress to the low part, right? When we do charity.
That's correct. That's the way we.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pandey Sanditato. Let me move to Venerable Kusipip. You have anything to add on to that?
I would rather ask Venerable Soktil.
Ask me. Not a speaker.
No. You stay there in the US, so you know more. Do American people practice the precept, especially the second one, Adinana? And do you see the dana, generosity out there, even though they are not Buddhist?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question.
Okay. So do they practice the second precept? Do they do the generosity?
Yeah, of course. That's why, just like Venerable Sanditato talked earlier, that precept does not just belong to Buddhism. That is why some people, even they don't call themselves as Buddhists, or they are non-religious people, but they do have precept, at least 5 precepts on their daily basis. Even though they don't come to the temple to recite or chant after the monks, but they do, refrain from harming, killing others. They respect the life. They also very generous, very kind. They, if there is any voluntary work, social work available, they will give time to do social work, to have community. I see people here, they really like to come to have the community here. Like we have the great Sierra Khmer community here, and a lot of foreigners are volunteering, helping the works, even coming to the temple. Like they are not Buddhists actually, but they out of good intention. So they want to have render service to the community, to have them live a better life. So I think the act of giving, or also the on a field of the precepts, a lot of people are practicing this precept even they don't call themselves as Buddhist or any kind of religious background, but they just do it out of their good intention, out of their heart. So I think this is very great question that the master has just asked, because I observe a lot of American people here. They come to the temple and they don't even know about what Buddhism is, but their action of kindness, their action of respecting others, respecting the life is very great, which I really appreciate it. Yeah. So let me turn back to Venerable Kusupip about that. Maybe you can add something about the charity or donation, and especially in time of hardships. Like in Cambodia, a lot of people are facing the economic downfall and hardship because of food, even the monks themselves. So you might aware of the situation very well right now. So in this time, it is the right time to do dana, to do a donation. Is there any way you can, maybe get some example of how we can do things to charity and donation?
I would raise my own example. It's not to show off, but that is my case. There's a case of fire near the temple, burning one house to the ground, and and during the COVID time, it's pretty hard. But I saw I mean, the heart of the people, even though other also suffer from the COVID, but they are willing to share. Some donate, I mean, $20, $10, $50, something, and a bag of rice and other stuff to the family. And that is what we call in Buddhism, Kala Dana, means giving according to the time. So that is the time that people need. So you offer it, you give it, and according to Buddhism, for the fruit of that kind of action will be great because you do it according to the time. And another thing is COVID, like we classify people in Phnom Penh to red zone where people cannot go out. The government try its best to offer food, and also the general public also share to the people in that red zone, even to the temple. Some temple also quarantine themselves because they are connected to the COVID positive person. And we at the temple, I mean, as a brothers in Buddhism, we also share what we have at the temple to other temple. And the local authority, the people in the villages also willing to share some donation to the temple. So that I see it and I appreciate the kind heart of the rich people who are willing to share some of their property to the needed people.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is the same thing as we usually say in Khmer, help each other in times of need. So in Buddhism, it is a timely donation. It's at the right time that people are really in need of food, in need of supplies. So your donation, even it is a little bit, would be really matters, really helpful for a lot of lives in Cambodia. And specific example for myself too, we have received some fund from our donors throughout the state. At least 10 states, they have sent some budget through me, and I also have sent it to Cambodia to have relief, to have some red zone family and also the monks in different temples. So such a kindful act that we can really help each other in time of need. I would really appreciate all donors who have the kind heart to offer help, to offer service to our people in Cambodia in times of need. So that is good example of the act of giving, the act of charity as in terms of stealing. So the Buddha really emphasized this second precept as one of the important, basic training rule to make ourselves happy, to live a meaningful life, and also to achieve higher mental development. So let me turn back to Venerable Sandhi Tato about that. Can you give the reflection about this second precept? Why do you think that why the Buddha laid down or promulgated this second precept as one of the important things for human beings to to practice on a daily basis. Can you give a little bit explanation how important is it and why the Buddha advised this precept for us to follow?
As I think not much other religions that they believe in the effect of the karmic cause, and it is maybe unique for the Buddhism only. The Buddha say that kamma saka bhikkhave satta kamma teyete kamma yoni kamma panthu kamma padisarana yang kammang karonte kalyanang vya papakang vatasa tayata bhavanti. O bhikkhu, the people have their own action as their relative, their own action as their property, their own action as their lineage, their own action as their world, their own action as their world for the next existence. And so that from this point, maybe the Buddha try to cut even from the cause of the problem. The Buddha tried to eliminate the cause of the problems, not just to give the medicines to the ill people, but show them the cause of the illness, what brings.
You're frozen again, Pante.
It's frozen again?
Okay, now you're back. Yes, you're back now.
Sorry.
Yeah, maybe
sorry.
because of connection.
The connection in my side very low, so there's some problem I see in my computer here. It's very, very slow, Pante. It's problem again. When Rebel Socrates came out, maybe it's kicked out by...
he laughed a little bit. Please continue, Venerable. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, Pante, Sunday, you still here?
So the Lord Buddha, I'm still here. The Buddha laid down that precept that it just prevents the bad actions to happen, because that bad action giving the bad result in the second existence as well as in the present existence, in the present life, to himself and sufferings to others as well. For example, if someone carries the wrong view, michatithi, not believe the effect of the karmic effect or the results of the karmic in the future, so they may commit whatever they want through the attachment of the sensual pleasure. Kama tanaha. They do whatever they like. They enjoy their lives, stealing, killing, or engage in the sexual misconduct like that, and everything, etc. And so this is the way the Buddha prevents them to cut down the lies from the suffering. So that's why he laid down this second precept to bring the harmonize, to bring the benefits to the societies in the present life as well as in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pante, for sharing the Buddhist perspective concerning why the Buddha laid down this second precept. Why is it so important for our daily life? Let me turn to Venerable Precept about that. If we relate that to society in daily life, how important the second precept? What happens if people do not practice avoid stealing? What happened to the society?
I think that we scared of stealing, a robbery. I mean, at night time, if you ride a motorbike in the pretty dark street road, you feel scared because you afraid there may be somebody come and get you and take your property from you. That is the result of not practicing the second precept. And at your home, build a high fence to protect yourself from the robber.
Yeah.
And that
Robber.
is, yeah, and that is a sense of insecure. I mean, you feel not secure. That's why you build that high fan around you. I am sorry to raise an example of going to the US. Yeah, they have their home and there are a lot of insecurity out there, but some places are so secure. So do you build fan not because of you want to protect your home from the robber, but just to notice that is your land. I stay in Georgia. Yeah, we still have fans out there, but it's not that kind of protected fence. So with, I mean, kind of protection out there. But I would like to raise the case that if most of the people practice the second precept, not to steal, you feel secure. Like we already seen in the sutta episode that when people practice the 5 precepts, you don't need to lock the door. The property just stay there. You feel secure. That is mentioned in the Tipitaka also. And there no need more law. The law is created to protect the wrongdoing. But if the people already do good, so you may not need more law. But it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. Like whether it's something that I already mentioned, the greed, the hatred, the delusion inside the mind lead people to commit all bad stuff. And I think in contrast to the doing bad, to the stealing, we educate the younger children to respect others' property right. The parents tell the children that don't take someone's property, and if they took it, okay, give it back. Consider if you lost your property, you feel bad, so you need to take it back to the owner. So I think it implanted the good mind in the young children can bring up the social order, can bring up the level of security in their heart, in their mind in the future. And that's what I want to say. Thank you.
It's really a great point, when they very interesting when we talk about just the act of stealing, which can lead to the cause of social insecurity, like robbery can happen. Also, the act of killing can happen too, due to the stealing, right? Because sometimes people rob the house, rob the bank, and it could lead to killing. So undertaking the precept is so important for the sake of social order and security. Just like most people just say, sometimes we don't build the large fund. We spend a lot of money building on the large funds and put the safety camera just to protect ourselves from robbery, just to protect our property. That is such a waste again. Also, like when the boss said, when people do not steal each other's property, do not have the covetousness, picture, also the greediness, the attachment, people won't need to worry when they leave home without locking the door. They do not worry much. So when people do commit the stealing, if there is a lot of robbers and so on, we don't feel safe wherever we go. We always feel worried about safeguarding our property. Sometimes we go away from home, we always think, okay, what might happen to our house. Even we want to go on vacation, we don't feel safe. We feel always worried about the house, our property at home. Sometimes maybe it can it can broke. Some people may broke the house or something, what we call burglar or something. So practicing the second precept, adinatana, is really helps the social norm. Also, it will not put a burden on on the laws, social law. It really helps a lot if we truly just follow according to the 5 Buddhist precept. Really helps to relieve the burden of the society as well. Let me move to Venerable Sante Tato. You have anything to say for the last word concerning this Abhinatana? We cannot hear you, Kande.
Regarding to the second precept, and I hope that all the Buddhists follow as well as non-Buddhists. So may they, instead of committing the like stealings because of the 3 factors like greed, hatred, and the delusions, so they try to develop their minds and their heart, and to give the donations and charities, and to give non-fear, non-scare, give the security, give the good lives to other fearful. Because stealing also a kind of scary, when someone they feel really scared, like most Venerable Precepts just mentioned. Someone when you go on the dark and then you feel really scared, because while stealing, maybe they take some action very serious, even they put you pawn down, or they use some kinds of weapons. It can injure our lives as well. And two, may all the Buddhists they try to practice, and the only to factor, another 2 factors that brings them to be avoid, bring them to avoid the stealing. If all the human beings they carry that 2 teachings, maybe they're not really there to think about stealing. The first one is the hiri, the moral shame. The Lord Buddha said that is the teachings of all human beings. As a human being, must exceed that 2 things: hiri, the moral shame, and otapa, the moral dread. They feel very fear. They feel very fear about the law. They feel very fear about the court. They feel very fear about the results of stealing. That is otapa. And hiri, they feel very shame. They think about themselves as I am a human being. I should not commit the stealings. This kind of action is the action of the lower people, the uneducated person. Thus, they have to think about that. And so I think all people try to develop charities during the pandemics, the COVID-19, and give the compassion, the loving kindness, and give the happiness to oneself as well as to the societies, to the communities. And with all people, they obtain the 4 teachings of the Lord Buddha. The first is the ayu, to be long life, one to be good looking form, and sokha, to be happy, and pala, to be full of the strength in their life. And finally, maybe they obtain the fruitions, and to obtain the final distinctions of suffering, and to obtain the final cessation of the sufferings, may all be obtained that teachings of the Lord Buddha.
Thank you so much. Venerable Kuspip, any last word, takeaway message?
I would I mean the one thing that we practice the second precept, we don't hurt someone's feeling, we don't destroy someone's property, and according to karma, we're receiving the good result back. No one take your property away. Your property is properly protected by your own karma, and eventually the fruit of that generosity will bring you good luck. I mean, you can, according to the karma, the dharma, you will be born in a proper family. You will be easily get property or money. Yeah.
Maybe it's the cost of billionaire, right?
one thing I would rather ask Venerable Soktivi to share, and that is my last word. I mean, we knew that we go to the temple, we ask precept from monks, we recite after the monks. I would like you to share what can we learn from the way of American people observing the precept, the second precept or the first precept or whatever. I mean, in terms of Sila, do they need to realize to really reciting to practice the 5 precepts or what precept or what, I mean, what kind of behavior is considered as real precept in daily life that we can learn from American people?
Thank you for asking me back. Actually, taking my real experience, my incident here, because we have a lot of foreigners coming to the temple, every week. And, in any ceremony, my community, my family, they also have a member of foreign or American friends. They come along, and the one who always explain them what we're doing in the ceremony. So whenever there is people asking for 5 precepts, I always explain them. And just like when the boss say, it's not, important, it's not a must that we have to recite after the monk. For some foreigners, they don't even know how to chant, yet they're practicing it, right? But while for some Cambodian people, we do recite it, yet we don't practice it, so what's the difference? I mean, what is better? One reciting but not practicing it, right? Like sometimes the precept is on the mouth but not in the heart. But even they're foreigners, they're not religious, they're not Buddhist, they don't know how to recite, but they really practice it on a daily basis. So which one is better? Just kind of reflect for yourself. So what I guided them is that I tell them, okay, why for Buddhism and also the Buddhist followers, it is so important. The Buddha advised to observe the 5 precepts. So one thing is the benefit of ourselves, learning to train our mind, to give away, to not commit any wrongdoings. Because one thing, if we cause harm to other, in return we also get harmed. In return if we cheat other, in return we get cheated. So this is a matter of cause and effect, karma and its rebirth, its result. This is one thing that the Buddha advised. We should observe the 5 precepts. And by observing, what we really mean here is not just by reciting, right? But we have to observe it by our intention to not to commit those wrongdoing, by not doing those wrongdoings, and by practicing good conduct. So this should be the way how we observe the precept. Because by reciting, but if we don't have intention to refrain from them, so that we cannot call them as a precept. So the precept when we only do good conduct and refrain from wrong conduct, right? So thank you, Venerable Kuti, for raising this point. And I would like to wrap up today's discussion by accumulating the merit from this Dhammatana, the gift of Dhamma to all people. Hopefully, throughout our 1 hour live show discussion, I hope that our audience can get some understanding about the second precept, Adinatana, which is taught in Buddhism, and how important for our daily life, for our daily practice, to have relieve the burden of society, as well as to give people security, a sense of happiness, a sense of forgiveness, and a sense of loving kindness toward each other. When we appreciate, respect the right to property of others, we also giving a sense of kindness and security to them, to the world. So be happy, be kind, and be compassionate. I would like to wrap up this by thank you so much again for both Venerable Speaker, Venerable Dr. Piko Vajrapanyo Kusupip from Wat Koleteng, Kingdom of Cambodia, and Venerable Santi Tato from California, United States of America. Again, thank you so much for all audience, and wish you all the best of luck. May you be blessed with the Buddha blessing, and be happy and be well. So much namo tania. Goodbye.